feels so right.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Loft Line podcast with me, Tom Roscoe-Williams, and Jamie Langrish. How are we doing, boys? All right?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good.
Yeah, I'm going to have to apologise for last week. We didn't have one because I was really sick. To be fair, lads, I've never been that ill in my life. It was the worst illness that I've ever had. So I'll never, ever, as long as I live, be having that fucking flu jab again. Because I had the flu jab the other week, the other month, and I'll tell you what, I was that ill with the flu. It was ridiculous, honestly. I'll never ever do anything like that again. I couldn't believe it, how sick I was. But anyway, so there's another apology. It seems like I'm apologising every week, doesn't it? So I even missed the moot, didn't I? What I was really looking forward to. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
So how did the moot go, lads?
Yeah, it was a good turnout.
Was it?
And lads fired some good questions, and we just answered them from what we know, and we a lot of the answers that all three of us didn't agree on each other's answers, so it was good. We all had our...
Well, we've all got to have our own opinions, haven't we? Do you know what I mean? And how do you think it went, Tom?
Yeah, it went really good. It was right, good panel to work with, Jamie and Chris, and we just bounced off each other. Like Jamie said, we did it, the whole thing like this show. We don't all agree with each other, so it made good debate. Everyone's different, and and there's a really good turnout up at Cumbria. I don't know how many there was there, but it looked like they put a right effort in. There was a good buffet, which I enjoyed. And like I say, plenty of lads and good questions, and they all seem to rally together and make a good night of it. So I thought, it was quite an eye opener. Really. I thought it was good. Yeah, I did.
Yeah. I mean, they used to be a regular thing. Them moots, didn't they, all over the show, weren't they? Do you know what I mean? And that's something else what's dying out again, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What we're talking about. So everybody who's joining us, please hit that like button and that subscribe button, and try and please get your messages in tonight and get your questions in, because tonight what we're going to do, we're going to use it for talking about the RPRA. And what do we think we're doing? So we've got a message off Tony Peters there saying, "Good to see us all back, lads." So what I mean, and grow your own, Chris. Good evening, lads. Good evening, everybody. So I mean, what do we think about the RPRA now? I know we don't know all the rules and all that, and we're not talking about that. But what we're asking people tonight is, the RPRA, we pay them a lot of money, don't we? All the clubs and all the federations, everybody has to pay money into this big pot. And do we think that the RPRA are doing enough for the pigeon fanciers, for grassroots pigeon fancying? So go on, Tom. What do you think?
It's hard to say without, you don't, it's like anything, you don't want to insult people who are in the job, who are doing the job, So I wouldn't want to say that they're terrible. I wouldn't want to say, this, that, and the other. Is there stuff that they could do different? I would say, yeah. I think the biggest problem they've got is with the pigeon fraternity. It's getting the percentage of people that's like computer literate in it, I think that automated transfer thing. I think that's been fantastic. I've used it a lot, and I think it's fast. It's brilliant. I think that was a great whoever came up with that idea there. That was like stuff like that. I think that's moving forward the times, and I think it's good. You know what I mean? But
let's say this, Tom. We're not going to pick out anybody individually from the RPRA. That's what we're saying. But what we're saying in a broad spectrum, what are people's thoughts on the RPRA, and what are people's thoughts on, do they do enough for, everybody's having problems at the minute with these new liberation sites and changing liberations, and also the raptors. You know what I mean? Are they doing enough about the raptors? Are the RPRA going out and finding these new live sites when one closes down? or are they just getting normal fancies to get in touch with them and stuff? Do you know what I mean? I mean, and you know, are they set in the way that are they just quite happy to go along? Do you know what I mean, Tom?
Yeah. Like you say, I think what you're trying to say in a nutshell, do they fight our corner enough? And I think the answer to that's no. You know,
Yeah.
you're talking about the birds of prey, you know, that side of things. Let's forget the race points for now and that sort. So
Yeah,
I would say the biggest problem we've got at the minute, we've had it for years, is the bird of prey in it. You know.
Yeah.
Now they did actually start something called the Raptor Alliance. I don't know if you remember it, Bob. And
I remember it. Yeah.
Now everybody paid into it, Bob. You had to pay. We all had to pay as members. We paid. I can't remember how much it was, so I don't want to quote it.
Yeah.
We had to pay so much to fight our corner on the Raptor side of things, and nothing ever happened, Bob.
No, we never heard it, did we?
No, what happened to the money that we all put for that? Do you know what I mean? It's just stuff like that that's a bit disappointing.
Yeah. So, Ian Platt, the RPRA have lost lots of members with the fee per member. Our club asked for a fee per loft, and that way we would regain some of the lost members back, and it would offer an incentive to add children.
Well, I still think children should be free. Children used to be free right through, didn't they, Jamie? From a few years ago, children. Yeah. I think if let's say under 12, under 16, whatever you want to call it. I think that all that should be free. I don't think kids should be paying for anything. You know, that's my opinion.
Well, you know what? I'm going to go one further. I think if you've got a new member in the club and he's just joined the club and it's his first year, I think it should all be free anyway.
Yeah.
I think if you've got a new member in the club and he walks into the club and he joins your club and you classed it as like, say, on a probationary 12 months, just to see how the kid is and see he's not a trouble causer and, you know, he's who he says he is. Well, I think that he should be allowed to join your club for free for that first year.
Yeah. I think you could do that. I think you could do that as a club, though, Bob. As a start, clubs could do that. Clubs
could do it.
Clubs set their own, their own fee. You know, so I think clubs could start with it. Yeah,
because I honestly believe that, you know, there's not enough incentive for new members. You know, I mean, let's not just talk about younger lads starting, but you know, when people retire and they want something to do. You know, someone's coming up to retiring and he's classed as a new member at the club. Well, I think it should be free.
I think there's more. There's definitely the way I've seen and what I've heard. There's more people coming into it, the sport, from retired age than there is a young age. That's a fact.
Yeah. I mean, we you know, that we should waiver all them fees at club level for anybody joining. Should go right. All right, mate. Well, you're going to join. We're all going to help you out. We're going to try and do this and that's for you. And your fees are free for the first year.
Yeah. It must be quite daunting when you go into, like, say, you go into anything, and the first thing they hit you with is fees. Oh, you owe 20 quid your Fed fees. You owe such a member for this. It's automatic. You think, Jesus, don't you?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If they're a new member, I think like the RPRA should notice that they're a new member. Do you know what I mean? So Rhino sent us a message here. All right, Rhino lad. The online transfer is brilliant, but costs them thousands. And the RPRA needs some younger people on there as they are stuck in their ways. So that's a good point, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we all know this, don't we? Let's all say this. When you've done something for a long time, if you're not careful, you start to lose your edge, don't you? You know, that's just life. That's life. You just start to lose that little edge, and then you know sometimes you've got to check yourself and go, hang on a minute. Listen, I'm letting a lot slip here that I never used to let slip. You know what I mean? So maybe a younger element coming into the RPRA would work. I mean, without being disrespectful to any club members or any Fed delegates or anybody, everybody that's involved in pigeon racing at that kind of level, that administrative level, they're normally all getting on a little bit, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, and the reason they're doing that job is because nobody else wants to do it. So a lot of that is our fault. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I class myself as a younger, not a too older person, but you know, we should have some younger lads involved in the running of the job, like your age, Tom, and Jamie's age. You know what I mean?
The thing is, though, Bob. I mean, you know well from me. I in the last, I can say it from a younger person's side of view.
Yeah,
As you know yourself, Bob. I got into that in the last 3 years. I got into taking a lot of jobs on, doing a lot of work.
yeah. Of course you have. Yeah.
I just got pagged. You know what I mean? I just got absolutely pagged, and the main reason was we get back to the people that are stuck in their ways. They don't want change.
No.
You know what I mean? They want everything the same. They
No.
don't want new ideas. You know, and like you've seen yourself, Bob. In the end, I just thought I've had enough of this. And
No. Well. I think you know that's the problem. People just let people get on with it.
yeah,
They go, oh, let Tom will sort it out, let Jamie sort it out, let Bobby sort it out, let them sort it out. They just get on with it, just let you get on with it. But the big massive problem in pigeon racing, what I see is that everybody else can do a better job, but nobody wants to put the fucking hand up to do it.
No.
That's the problem. What I've noticed, that even in clubs, what I've noticed is that you can be there doing a job, and then you've got all these people that are backbiting and talking behind your back. I've seen it for myself. I'm not talking out of school. I don't care, but I've seen it in the clubs where someone's doing a job, and then these other people who are not willing to do the job are sticking their noses in and saying that, oh, this shouldn't be done, and this shouldn't be done, and this shouldn't be done. But they'll never put their hands up and do the job.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's ruining so many clubs.
Yeah.
At meetings, I keep my mouth shut, and we try new ideas, and and like secretaries and Fed secretaries, they don't get the praise they deserve. So you know what I mean for what they do. It's and a lot of the things I keep my mouth shut at meetings and stuff, because I think, well, they're dealing with it all, and if they want an idea, then ask us and we'll put our pennies worth in. But otherwise, crack on, because you're doing it all, and thanks very much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
like go on, Bob.
That's the problem, because you've got these older people who are in charge of the clubs and stuff like that, and you've got these other people who are saying, oh no, well, and outside the cabin putting a mix in.
Yeah.
I've sat and watched it and listened to it. I've listened to it. You know what I mean? People are in the cabin doing the work and stuff like that, and then you've got people sat outside the cabin who haven't got a clue what they're talking about, who know nothing what they're doing, and they're the ones that are putting this mix in for everybody else, putting a poison, giving everyone a drink of this poison chalice. You know what I mean? So that's a massive big problem. What I see. Hang on, we've just got a message here. So, Grow Your Own Northwest, Chris, friend of the show. Any of you lads up for potentially starting a racing pigeon charity? We could apply for funding to help clubs help young fanciers start up, cover their fees for a year, birds and loft, etc. Chris, anything?
Was it not already? There is one, Bob. We've had him on the show, haven't we? That was exactly what that was.
What was it? What was he called? Chris, we've had a lad on the show who does that. What was it called?
Yeah, we had him on the show, John. I don't think Pigeon Pathways.
Pigeon Pathways, Chris. There's one called Pigeon Pathways. But listen, Chris,
it's fantastic.
We'll get involved in anything to try and help the sport.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
User Mike PW4. Evening, gentlemen. The RPRA is an old, antiquated establishment being run by old-fashioned systems and rules, with management not wanting progress to move the sport forward, to set in their ways. See, everybody's kind of that same ideas, aren't they? That, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I've got an email here. Let me read this email out, lads. So Mike Radom Olovich has sent me this email. He sent me an email today saying he's just started in pigeons and he's doing very, very well. So good luck to you, Mike. And he's put to the questions that we've asked. Number one, the RPRA are not proactive and are very stuck in the times. Take the RPRA rules; they are out of date and need to be simplified. They simply are not fit for purpose in today's day and age. The RPRA never answer a straight question, but always say we have to refer to our club, and then the club can contact the region and then put in a proposal at the next AGM, which is never agreed upon, as it is governed by a few old timers committee members who could not and will not accept that the sport of pigeon racing has to move forward with the times. So that's the general kind of consensus in it, lads, what people are thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then he's also put the RPRA need a younger management team. They need a younger management team at the RPRA and remove the old people who are happy for it to decline, as they are still in the twilight years of racing pigeons and not concerned about the future and the younger generation that are still interested in racing pigeons. So what he's kind of saying there is that they're just seeing their days out.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
they're not thinking about leaving stuff, you know, behind for the younger generation that are coming through.
I think a lot of the way everything's set up from the bottom. I'm talking from club level to get to the top level, which is your RPR level. I think the system of say you want to put something across, or you want to, you know, I think it just complicates it that much. You're going through your club, through your fed, through your region. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people just think, oh, I'm not doing that. You know,
well, that's what we say. It's the old way, innit? It's not changed. When has that not changed from?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's always been that way, hasn't it?
Yeah, always, yeah.
You know, take it to your club. Club takes it to the delegates. Delegates take it, you know, to the Fed, and the way it works.
It disappears.
Alan Williams, 1528. Thanks for joining us, Alan. Are the RPRA run by elected committee, or is it a job for life? If it's the later, then that's your problem. I don't know, Alan. I don't know how it works. I don't know if you have to be elected. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's a job for life, isn't it?
Hey?
I think it's a job for life, isn't it?
I know they're employed. I know that.
That's the problem. That's half the problem, innit, boys? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
but
anyone.
The thing is, though, Bob, it's like when you look at the wages, what they're on, this and the other. I don't know the wage off me, but they're on a good wage. They get in any other aspect of life. If you get paid for something, and after a certain amount of time, whoever's paying you, i.e., which is us, aren't happy with what you're doing, and what happens in every other aspect of life? You know what I mean?
You get sacked, don't you? You get fired, don't you?
Or if you don't go that far, you get questioned, don't you? And you say, "This is what we want. We don't want that. We want this." You know, and that's what I said. They're not like, it's not like at your club level where, like Jamie was saying before, most of your people in office at clubs and that, they're not even paid, Bob. You know,
no.
But they get treated like they do get paid. You know.
Yeah. So Ian Platt 8991, thanks for joining us, Ian. He's put Alan Williams replying to Alan. Most of the committee is made up of people from regions who are elected.
Right, there you go. Right.
So obviously they're the elected officials, aren't they? But so what could we do? Could we have how could it work? Could we have our own committee that goes directly to the RPRA?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm assuming. Who do we send to the RPRA meetings? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone's invited, and it's probably our own fault for not going.
Yeah,
you're right, Jamie. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
You know what we'll do? We'll send an email to the RPRA this week and see if one of them want to come on the podcast and see if they can explain it all to us.
Oh, I think so. I mean, yeah, a good idea.
I don't think that'd be a bad idea, would it? You know what I mean? If we actually offer them to come on and explain how it works, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it'd be a good idea.
But you do. you do know that something's got to change, and it,
Yeah.
you know, there's
Absolutely.
got to be, there's got to be some incentives for the younger element joining pigeon racing, and the retiring people. Anybody who's joining pigeon racing, there's got to be some kind of incentive for them, hasn't there, to get them to come and have a go with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the main thing as a paying member, all I want out of them is for me to feel like they've got my back. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When
Yeah.
it comes to the Hawks, when it comes to pushing, basically they're getting paid for a job, and all I want from what I pay my fees is to know that they've got my back, and they're doing the best thing for me and the pigeon fraternity. That's all you could ask for, isn't it?
Yeah. Even
Because
if you turned around and said, we've done everything we can about the Hawks, we can't make anything budge. We can't make them less. We've done what we can. There's so much left in the pot, and we're going to put it into that.
Yeah. And you go, fair enough, wouldn't you? Fair enough.
Yeah.
We tried everything. We can't do out about it. We can't stop them keeping Hawks.
Yeah.
We've just got to learn to live with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So then we think, right, well, we've got to educate ourselves now, haven't we? I eat hawk feeding times and stuff like that, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like you're saying, not to know anything, because you don't know what's going on. That's the thing, innit? They've kind of what they've done at RPRA. They've kind of put themselves on that pedestal, haven't they?
Yeah.
Where don't forget underneath them, you've got like clubs, feds level before you get to the RPRA. So they've got like a couple of buffers before it gets to them, innit?
Yeah.
So I suppose the only way to get a straight answer off them really is by emailing and direct yourself, innit?
Yeah. Well, that's what I mentioned before. There's that many levels to get to. By the time you've got a complaint or even, let's say, an idea, it's getting it there. It's getting it to the top.
Yeah. That's what I mean. This, like people are saying, it's too set in their old ways. We're in this modern age. We're in this absolutely amazing world of technology now. What we're in, where we don't really.
I mean, it's like at Fed level. I was just saying the other day, and I was thinking about it. You know how we have Fed delegates, don't we, from each club, Bobby, which go to the Fed meetings. Well, some of these Feds are that small now. Let's take like the Blackpool Fed, 25, 30 members in the Fed. That delegate thing wants scrapping, and everyone should go to the meeting. And then when something gets put forward, show raise of hands. That's the way, in my opinion. Some of these Feds. I mean, I know clubs in our Fed, Bob. They've got one loft. You've got in our Fed. You've got up to 10 members. You get one delegate, i.e., one vote. And then once you go over 10, you get another one. So you'd have two votes. You'd have two people go. So if a club has one member, that gets the same amount of votes as a club that has 9 members. And it's not right in my eyes. It's wrong.
It's wrong, isn't it?
Yeah.
Andy Photo, as a new starter, what do I gain by joining the RPRA? Well, you have to be a member of the RPRA, haven't you, to actually get rings and to fly, don't you?
Yeah.
I saw a question quote before. Do we need the RPRA? In my opinion, yes, we do. Absolutely. I do think we need a governing body. We're not saying we don't need them. We're just saying maybe we disagree with slightly the way it gets run. But do we need a governing body? Yeah, I think we do. I do.
So what we need is we need them to be overall, don't we?
Yeah.
It needs sorting out. I mean, what would we have to do? Would we have to get our own delegation to go to the RPRA or ask the RPRA what are they doing with the money? Where's it all going? I know we get a balance sheet and stuff like that, but it's like what's brought it home to me is this at this moment in time where live sites are getting shut down and they don't seem to be picking new ones for us.
No, we've had that problem, haven't we, Jamie? We wanted an 80-mile race point, and with a couple being closed down and one not open and one not suitable, they're having to jump. Instead of starting at 80 miles with young birds, they're having to jump them to 105. Well, and it's not right.
Because nobody's found any suitable.
They close sites, Bob, and don't replace them.
Byron Morris 747, lads, I've got you on the big teller in the living room. Can you give Albie Morris a shout out? He's 3 years old and absolutely loves racing. He's racing his pigeons with me, his dad and his granddad. Albie Morris, keep up the good work, son. And don't go. Hey, listen, don't go beating your dad and your granddad. Otherwise, they won't help you anymore. Thanks for joining us, lads. Yeah, I mean, that's what you just said then. So one club, one member as one delegate.
Yeah.
And then a member with 10 as 10, 9 members, one delegate. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
What I'm saying is the stuff gets passed at a Fed level. Let's talk about Fed level because it's the same as you go up.
Yeah.
So basically, you could have one person coming from one. So let's say, for instance, there's 2 members of one club. Let's say 2, so they get 1 vote.
Yeah.
And then there's another club with 9. They get 1 vote. So the vote gets swayed, and it's not going with the general what people want, and it's not right.
No. But this is what we're talking about. We're looking for answers, aren't we? Do you know what I mean? Sue Pete's just come on and said that let's see, RPRA fees should be per loft and not partnerships.
Well, that's a motion that you can start. You can, if you think that. But what will happen there, which is fair enough, if you go, they've split that to make money. So if you went back to loft, which I agree with, let's say 1 per loft, they'd automatically they double the fee, Bob, wouldn't they?
Yeah, because so they're not losing that money. Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is, say there's me and you in a partnership, and I'm going to say we pay £25 each.
Yeah.
Right. And then the next year we could pay just as a partnership one-off payment. They'll make it £50.
Yeah.
So what are you going to gain, like?
Yeah. Oliver Langlish just said the lads are back. Tony Peters 9763. What are the fees for a new member? Lad?
I couldn't tell you that.
It depends on your club, doesn't it? It depends what. So first of all, you've got to pay your club fees, and in your club fees are your Fed fees and your RPRA fees, aren't they?
Yeah. You pay your club fees, you pay your federation fees, and you pay your what they call an RPRA fee is called paying your union fees, which is your RPRA is your union. And I can't just remember. I know they keep, something tells me it's £33. I could be wrong, but I know they keep putting it up every year, £1 or £2.
Right. But put that last message on, mate. So user Mikey P, thanks for joining us, mate. Do the BICC, MNFC and FC and the NWHU and NEHU obtain their rings from the RPRA?
No. They come from a manufacturer.
Yeah, they have their own rings. So Victoria Aled evening lads, shout out to the Stockbridge Feds. Hello, Stockbridge Feds, hope you're okay. But so that's what I'm saying. RPRA fees are £38 for new members, going up to 45. There you see, straight away.
Yeah.
It's a lot of dough in it. If you're like to start, thanks Chris for that, mate. It's a lot of dough in it. You know what I mean? That's
it's not just that, Bob. If them fees are like that, and you start with your 20-year-old son, that's double that.
Yeah.
That's per person.
Me and Sharon are a partnership, so I pay double, don't I?
Right. Yeah. You
know what I mean? Me and Sharon are partners.
You want to get to transfer it, you Bob?
Yeah. I hope she's not watching.
She will be. She ding.
But so I mean, moving forward, what have we got any answers to this RPRA thing? Do you think, or
Well, at the minute, it has to start from the bottom, doesn't it? We just discussed that, but getting it from the bottom, which is your club, through to your
Yeah.
Fed, through to your region, it takes a lot of time and a lot of meetings, doesn't it? When you think about it, waiting for the next meeting, and you've got your club, your Fed, your region,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the way it's set up at the minute. And what you're saying, Bob, it needs to be made easier, is what you're saying, isn't
Well,
it?
it needs to. There needs to be something. Whereas instead of going through all them channels,
Yeah.
where if there's enough of you with a question, you can go right direct to the RPRA.
So, like we're talking about, say, going into like the government and stuff.
Yeah.
If you get a petition with so many
Names.
signatures on it,
They've got to listen to it, haven't they?
so
Yeah,
that could be a good thing.
Yeah.
And if one of the big meetings where they're going to vote on, if they put what they were voting on online, and you voted with your loft number, so you couldn't just have Tom, Dick, and Harry voting on it, you could vote on them things that go into that meeting, and then it could get cleared up at the meeting. How many votes got voted online for that, and everyone wouldn't have to travel around the country and save a fortune.
Well, that's what we're saying. So what we're saying is, in this wonderful age of social media and the internet and stuff like that, we could have that, couldn't we? Because at this moment in time, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, if you want to know anything what's going on at the RPRA, you've got to buy the Homing World, haven't you?
Well, yeah, because but
then you don't find out, do you?
No.
I don't know anyone who gets the Homing World anymore.
I get it.
We do. Well, I get it. It's only you, Jamie.
I stopped getting it because I used to always buy some out of it.
But the thing is, like Jamie just said, if there could be a summit where with your loft number, you could vote on some.
You could all have your own. Like I know what Jamie's saying. He's saying like you could log in. Is that what you're saying? You log in, Jamie,
if you all had your own login detail.
Yeah, that came with your thing. You logged into something on the RPRA site where you could vote. I think that'd be great. Which is what we're getting at club and Fed level, Bobby. Let everybody vote.
But because sometimes you can delegate someone to go to a Fed meeting or something like that, and they might not be on board with it.
Exactly, we've seen that many.
You know what I mean? So everyone is welcome to the RPRA meetings. No one goes, but we'll sound off to fellow club members. If we want change, we have to fight for it. See, Chris, I didn't even know that everybody could go. Do you know what I mean? So, but what you're saying there, Tom, about that Zoom meetings have been held this year at council. All RPRA news also goes out on the RPRA Facebook group. So there you go. So we can see, can't we? But what you're saying is, like, do we still, when you pay your RPRA fees, you still get them cards, or do you not get them anymore?
I don't know if you get them anymore. I think you get them. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you could your login details could be on that, couldn't they?
Yeah. For all voting, I think that's a great idea. I think it's a great idea because then what happens then is when stuff gets passed, it gets passed on single votes, doesn't it? You know what I mean? The votes get counted, not just like we discussed, Bob. One club having one member that has the same power as 9, and this is where it's all going wrong.
Yeah. That's what I mean. And you get the delegates that go there sometimes, and if they're not on board, if they're not decided that they're on board with what they've been delegated to do, they'll be half-hearted with it.
Well, that's what you get with a good delegate at any level, Bob. A good delegate is not there for himself. He's there to delegate what he's been told by the organisation that sent him.
Yeah. So we've got a lad here, Rob Jones. Thanks for joining us, Rob. He's put, "Hi, boys. Would put that up again, back. Hi, boys. Should the birds, especially young birds, be liberated in hot weather? The losses in young birds last year were horrendous." Go on, Jay. What do you think?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because once they're all down there, for me, they have to go. We fly them right around home in hot weather. For me personally, they've got to go.
What about you, Tom?
I totally disagree. Yeah, I mean, I've been a race controller, and I've witnessed these hot weathers. I've witnessed letting pigeons go on the most beautiful days you've ever seen, but Bob, not a cloud in the sky.
Yeah.
I agree with Jamie at a certain point, but I think there should be a cut-off. Because I think a lot of people underestimate heat. We've had some days, Bob, where it's been hot, hasn't it, mate? It's been hot. You know, and it tends to come when there's the young birds. I think old birds handle it better, a lot better. But it always seems to come when the young birds come, you know, with the east winds and this with the heat. And how many times have I said, Bob, to you, we've been sat having breakfast about these when they go on about solar flares and stuff like that. And I said, they'll have a stinker here today, you watch. And you have a stinker and you go, you talk between yourselves and you go, oh, yeah, it was the same as last time it happened. So why do we keep doing it?
Yeah. And I think we spoke about it. We touched on it the other week, didn't we? The same thing, that there's that many liberations now. That there's that many liberations now that everyone's trying to get the birds away, aren't they?
Yeah.
And no one's willing to wait anymore, are they?
No.
So, and this is another thing about Fed joining together. If they're all coming to the same area, there'd be less libs.
Yeah.
And when you were going for an earlier lib, Jamie, like you say, you're not all trying to go in that hour, are you? Trying to get in that gap.
Yeah. But that's what we're getting back to again, aren't we? That, you know, there's too many little feds, isn't there?
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, if there's like a couple of feds coming into the same area, what's the problem in letting them all go at the same time?
Even a 50-mile radius, they're all going to get a fair chance, and they have to split, don't they?
Yeah.
You know, you've got your weight all over the show. So
yeah, but we're going back to what we're discussing with the RPRA and that, stuck in the times and trying to get people to change. And like you said, Jamie, they just won't do it.
No.
But what's going to happen is I'd like to make the decision before because that time's going to come, innit? We all know that this sport's declining, so you're not going to have a choice. It's going to have to happen eventually because of money in it. With convoying them and this, that, and the other. So why don't people, before being made to do something, why don't people start doing it? Is what I'm saying, and rather than having it forced upon you, like.
Well, I think I'm gonna put my neck on the line here, but I think there's so many people now who are just trying to nick a win. You know, by changing feds and, you know, moving from here to there and doing this, and, you know, little clubs that are trying to you know, instead of just racing pigeons. You know what I mean? They're trying to, we didn't do any good this time, so we'll try this fed here, or we'll move to this one. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if we all went together, there'd be none of that.
No. When I first started with pigeons, my main focus, the first year with yearlings, were to be the best in my club.
Yeah.
The year after, I wanted to be best in combine, channel averages, sprint averages. Then I thought, once you've done that, then I moved on to nationals. There were no jumping club to club and looking for the easiest club to win. I went in that club, didn't know the people, they're a great set of lads at the time. And I stopped there till my pigeons were good enough to, you know, and I learned enough to win.
Yeah. But I think that's a big problem, in it, that, you know, some people are happy to fly against 3 and 4 fanciers.
Yeah, and they are happy to do it, Bob. That's the thing. If they're happy to do it and they want to do it, what can you do about it?
But it's costing them the same money.
Well, exactly. But some people are that stubborn, Bob, that it doesn't bother them.
Yeah, they just you see it, don't you? You know, they try to nick a win here, or they try and nick a win there, and nick a win there, and it's not doing the pigeons any good, is it?
Well, our club this year is in 3 years. This is their third fed they've been in this year. This will be their third fed in 3 years.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. It's mad, innit?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know, whereas you can, you know, you could all race in the same fed. Good birdage, races that are worth winning. races against, in the Fed, thousands of, a couple of thousand
Yeah.
pigeons instead of 100 pigeons or 130 pigeons.
Yeah. Well, I think getting back to the RPRA, I think when you join,
Yeah.
when you become, let's say, a new member, I think they should have the power. The RPRA, when you join, they put you in a Fed, because they should have a graph somewhere that's, with let's look at, longitude and
Yeah.
latitude, and if you're in that, you belong to that. If you're in that,
go
you
in
belong to that.
Yeah.
And I think that would stop a lot of trouble, like, and make, like you said, cheaper because of transport. You know what I mean, and more competitive.
That's what I mean. What doesn't that sound better, cheaper, and more competitive?
For a lot of people, yeah.
I mean, look. So look at what some clubs are doing now. They're limiting you on your birds you can send.
Yeah.
And then they're going, well, you can only have your first 4 on the sheet. What's all that about?
Yeah, I agree with a certain amount of limits, but I think sometimes limits take over. And I understand what people are saying, big team flyers. I get all that, and I do get it. We send quite a lot of pigeons, Bob, because we send it nationals.
But that's up to yourself, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. If you want to send 100 pigeons on a Saturday, Friday night, send 100 pigeons. It's up to you. But that's what I'm saying. They're all going, oh, no, he's got the weight of the pigeons and all that. Well, you breed 100 pigeons and send 100 pigeons.
It doesn't matter how you breed. If you breed 500, you only have 20 good ones.
That's what I mean.
Absolutely.
But that's what I'm saying about people trying to nick a win.
Yeah.
They're saying, oh, you can only send so many birds. You can only have so many on the result. You know what I mean? When you might have
after 3 or 4 races, we can all pick half a dozen of our best pigeons out. If they're all yearlings, we can soon find good ones. We don't have to send loads.
Yeah.
Years ago, there were a lad in our club, and everyone complained about him sending 60, 70 young birds. Anyway, he turned around the week after. He sent 59 to other club, and he sent 1 to our club, and he still won the race. And he's like, what? He said, you just lost 59 quid's worth of, bird prize money.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what I don't get. What these clubs are doing now, not only are they making themselves littler clubs, but they're telling you what you can do.
Yeah.
How many pigeons you can send. And it's not the club. It's not the club itself. It's just a few of the members that are getting together and going, well, he's sending. Hang on, Manchester area, 3 Feds go up every 15 minutes from the same race points. That's Sue Pete telling us that. So there you go. That's what we're talking about. Yeah. But these clubs, some of these clubs, they've gone power mad. They've gone power mad. You know what I mean? They're saying to you, "Oh, you can only send so many." Like, I'm a member of your club. What do you mean I can only send so many? So what happens is you'll leave and go to another club.
Yeah.
And
that. My club, I'm more the merrier. Bring as many as you can. The more you bring, the more prize money we can all share out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But these clubs nowadays, they're getting too big for their own boots. They're going, right, well, you can only do this and you can only do this. And they've got 4 or 5 members. And they're moaning they've got no money coming in and there's not a lot of people sending. But they're stopping people sending by putting these demands on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy. What they do in these little clubs, they're cutting their own throats.
Yeah.
They're standing there and they're slicing their own throats and they don't know they're doing it.
Have you had any questions sent in or anything this week, Bob? Any good ones?
Hang on a minute. With Craig Coriel, we have 2 clubs within half a mile radius of each other, with about 5 members in both, same Fed, and still not making one big club, let alone joining another Fed.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, to be fair, Jay, the question I've read that I've got another question here. Hang on a minute. All right. So we've got one here. Hi, Jack Langrish again. Another question for you. If you treat for canker every 3 weeks, are you curing your birds or just destroying their natural immunity? Thanks for the question, Jack. So go on, Mr. Langris.
Me personally, 2 or 3 years ago, we used to follow the Shaw and Tolson the thing, and that was treating every 3 weeks. No, I don't. If my birds are starving still, I don't treat for it. You know, and on a Monday, Tuesday, if they're absolutely ravished after flying out, I don't treat for it. I used to treat every 3 weeks, but now I think you get to know what your birds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think you've got to watch that little details of them being hungry. You know, my youngest this week, they slowed down a bit, and you know, normally they was ramping, and they've had nothing since I moved them. So mine been moved since December. So I treated them for 4 days this week, and they're ravished again. So they were just coming on with a bit. They've gone fruit dark. They're all nearly fruit bolts, and that stress has obviously just played a bit on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you say, Tom?
No, we wouldn't treat for canker every 3 weeks. Like, it's not something we'd do. I'm probably more on board with Jamie. I think once you get a family of pigeons and they're yours, and you've got generations of me, I think, as Jamie says, I think you get to know them. You know, I use my eyes, and you know, me gut instinct more than anything else. Well, I'd probably agree with what Jamie said there. Like,
well, as you know, this year I bought some pigeons in from different people. Last year I got some, and then this year I've got some more from different people. So what I've done, I've just sent a full loft. I've sent to vets in Ireland. I've sent everything. I've just joined their vets scheme and that. So I've just sent the first lot of droppings off. I've sent droppings off. I've sent swabs off from the birds' mouths, and they've asked me to send swabs of round the boxes and on the boxes as well. And they're doing what I'm starting off fresh, and they're doing me a full loft screen of everything.
That's good.
Everything, pigeon, all your pigeons, everything. So I know where I'm up to, you know, because I know you can get a problem where you bring in pigeons in from different places. So I thought rather than blind treat.
Have you finished bringing in now, Bobby?
Yeah, all done now. Yeah. So that's why I've done it now. So I did it last week. I sent like a fistful of droppings off. They asked me to send like a fistful of droppings off. So I sent them, and I sent about 10 swabs from different sections of the mouths and that, and then swabs. I literally swabbed the boxes as well. You know, like, you know, in case you shake your heads are out like that or something.
Yeah.
You know. So I've done all that, and it's all done.
Did they send your kits out, Bobby?
No, I did. What I did was I did it myself.
Right.
You know, they're gonna send me a kit anyway, but just to be going on with it, I just started it off myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I sent the swabs and all that, but what I did was I put them in plastic bags like they told me to. So everything's obviously the droppings, the mouth swabs from the pigeon, and the swabs off the loft are all in different bags. And what I did was I sent them to Ireland, and I sent them, so they was there the next morning.
Yeah.
I paid for that. I paid that extra one, and they got there the next morning.
So they'll set off growing cultures and all that straight away.
Yeah. So all that's going on now. So I think there's another full kit on its way to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because I told him I'd got like a couple of different sets of young, and he said, well, let's be on the safe side and let's get it started now.
Yeah.
So he said, are you competent enough to do what I tell you to do? And I went, well, yeah, you tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Yeah.
So I put all the swabs in different bags, inside a different bag, and all the dropping samples was all together. And it was like I had like a fistful of droppings, like he told me, a bit out of every one, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so hopefully, so I'm going a different route. But so Byron Morrison's put, did I buy that young one off you from the lead sale, Jamie? I didn't even realise it was you.
Yeah, it were, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so lads, I'm starting off fresh. So hang on, here's another one. User Mike P. Thanks for joining us, mate. This is where the new starter gets confused. I've asked 10 fanciers if they treat for canker, and you will get 10 different answers.
Yeah.
Medicating without a vet or consultancy is where the problem starts. Well, that's what I'm just saying, Mikey, because I've just done that. You know what I mean? Last year, I brought one set of pigeons in, but this year I've got a couple of sets of pigeons, 3 sets of pigeons. So I've I've put everything together. Do you know what I mean? And now kind of my young bird loft is closed down now, so that's the time to do it for me. So I'm going to use this vet all the time now. I'm registered with him.
Yeah.
Did that vet say that he could test for canker, Bobby? We're sending the swabs over.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
Because
So
the vet I
I've got-
use won't test for it because they always say it's dead by the time it gets to them. It's just funny, isn't it? Why one vet says one and another
Yeah. So Tom Hewitt's put, it's worth every penny sending the samples to Ireland. Donald is very helpful, Bobby. He leaves no stone unturned. Tom, that's who I've sent to Donald. You know what I mean? So, but yeah. I made a decision and I thought, right, I want to start off proper. Do you know what I mean? You know, you can kind of blind treat, can't you? And think, they're not right and they're not right and all that. And my young birds at the minute, they're absolutely bouncing. I go in every morning, the shit's perfect, there's down everywhere, there's feathers everywhere. And I've not even got them on the dart proper yet. Do you know what I mean?
Well, no. And so you would say, Bobby, that you're pretty confident that they're going to come back clear?
Well, I don't know. Because I've sent, I've took samples out of the other lofts as well. You know, the older pigeons. So what I want to do is I want to know exactly where to stand. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm not. So from this moment in time, I've made this decision. I'm not buying medication from anywhere else.
No.
Right. The only place I'm buying medication from is off Donald, that vet in Ireland.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm fully in. You know what I mean? I've threw me don in. I've gone in, and so I know exactly what's going on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel better that I'm doing it that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no guessing then, is there?
No. And I'm going to know exactly what's going on. So what I did was, because I'd put young'uns together, he said to me, Donald, he said, look, let's get the ball rolling now. Now, when's it St. Paddy's Day tomorrow?
Not too sure, mate.
Right, anyway, it's St. Paddy's Day soon. So what he said was, I won't be able to physically get that sample. It'll be 9 days before I send you the kit.
No good. No.
You know what I mean? He said, so let's get the ball rolling now. So he said, do this, what I've asked you to do, and send me. And I think that was, to where are we now? Sunday. So I think I spoke to him on Thursday, and he got them on Friday morning. So that's Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Or I'm almost 3 days in already. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The cultures are being sorted now, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I used your vet, Jay, and I sent the stuff off to him, and I sent everything off.
They need to see your birds, don't they, there before they'll grow cultures, don't they?
Yeah, so for them to see my birds, it's going to be like a 2.5 hour there and 2.5 hour back.
Yeah,
it's a 5 hour trip. Whereas I've had my vet's visit and everything's right. I told Donald that, who have sent me droppings to. I said, I've had my vet's visit, I've got all my forms and everything's done. You know what I mean? I said, I can send you pictures of them to say that I've been okay from the vet anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he said, no, it's okay. Just now you've told me that and you've got everything, it's all done. So I've actually had a vet visit, even though not off the same vet, but I've had a vet visit and I've been okay. They've been signed off, so everything's okay. So as far as Donald's concerned, my husbandry and my lofts are all okay.
Yeah.
They're up to a good standard, you know what I mean? So that's why. So then I sent them droppings off and then swabbed straight away, so it could get the ball rolling, you know what I mean? But they sell everything. They sell all the vaccines. They sell all the medicines and everything. So In the past, I've been guilty of blind treating. So Mike has put too many preventative medicines. He's playing with pigeons' natural immunity. Maybe that's why our losses in old birds and young birds are high. Nobody knows, do they? You know,
Yeah, no, I could be right there.
we don't know. So I've been I've been in that trap where I've been buying medicines and blind treating myself. I've done it. So I
Well,
thought,
it'll be interesting this year because my dad bred 70 distance birds last year. He
yeah,
trained them up a few chucks to 5 miles.
yeah,
He's left them out for 5 or 6 hours every day. He's
yeah,
treated them with absolutely nothing
yeah,
apart from injection this year so he can race them.
yeah,
They've had natural vitamins, pH control, whatever. They've
yeah,
had nothing. He's had, from what I think he's told, I think he's had 2 that he's had to let go because they
right,
couldn't
yeah,
act being natural.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it'll be interesting. So them birds have had absolutely nothing to ruin their immune system. So
Yeah,
it'll be really interesting to see how he gets on this year.
yeah,
when they get a good few races under the belt.
yeah, yeah. Well, we know what looking at my lot, my young ones are absolutely bouncing.
Yeah,
And I know nobody, you're not going to like what I'm going to tell you, but they're fat as fuck.
yeah,
They're massive, honestly. They're massive. And they're getting fed once a day. And when I shout them to feed them, they're all filling themselves up great. You know what I mean?
yeah,
They're eating and all they're having is corn and grit and they're doing great, honestly. Now, my racers, they're flying like crazy, all clean underneath and everything. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
but by looking on the outside, everything looks great.
yeah.
I've got no stock birds, have I? Do you know what I mean? So I've
Oh,
got racers, and that's it. And everything looks great. They all look great. I've had no problems. Everything's been okay. Do you know what I mean? They've
yeah,
all been jabbed. The old ones have been jabbed. The young ones have all been jabbed, as you know, Jay. You know what I mean? We did it at your house, didn't we? So
yeah,
that's it. For all intents and purposes, they look great. And I thought, well, I'm going to hit the ground running this year, and I'm going to do everything right. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Because like I said, I could set you in my garage there, and it's like go to a chemist.
Yeah, it is, yeah. It's like Aladdin's
I've
cave.
got I've got that much stuff, so I'm not. That's it now. I'm not doing it no more. Do you know what I mean? Finished with it. So I'm going to be governed by the vet for the full year and see how it goes. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
That's good.
You know. So watch this space, and I'll be telling you exactly what's going on. Do you know what I mean?
But on the other hand, we'll talk about it. I think the question was, people blind treating that. I think
Yeah,
sometimes pigeon people, when you've been in the game long enough,
yeah.
what I'm trying to say is,
Say it.
a
Say it.
pigeon,
Say it.
a pigeon with canker, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Right, let's say a pigeon with canker. How many times have I seen a pigeon with canker, right? And how
yeah,
many times has a vet seen a pigeon with canker? When I
yeah,
mean seen it, I mean looked at its reactions. Like Jamie talked. Jamie noticed something was wrong with his young birds,
yeah,
and he treated them with what he thought, and
yeah,
it worked.
yeah,
So I think
yeah.
sometimes we don't we
It's
don't.
okay.
It's okay to trust your own instincts on a bit. So Jamie
Yeah,
did it worked perfect. What I'm trying to
yeah,
say
yeah.
is, we are when you've raised pigeons long enough. I'm not saying you're a vet, but you should know what to look for. You know the
Well,
signs.
you know when your pigeons are not right, don't you?
Yeah, and half of the
Yeah,
time, from experience, you learn what was wrong
Yeah,
with them. And
yeah,
Jamie obviously did it, and it worked for him.
yeah, yeah. So let me just say what Chris said from Grow Your Own Northwest. Losses are high due to paper pigeons. Too many people selling pigeons of unraised pigeons just because of
Yeah.
the bloodlines. This is what's causing all these losses, etc. Face it. So we was having a conversation the other week about it, Chris, one with me and the lads, and there's that many pigeons get bought now that are grandsons and great grandchildren of this.
Yeah.
You know but that's social media. That's
But
social media for you.
but the thing is, if you bring that subject up, 9 out of 10 people, pigeon people, will say to you, someone says, right, I'm going to buy some pigeons now. We've been asked these questions. Where do I go? You don't get anyone that says, go and find the best pedigrees. 9 times out of 10, pigeon people will say, go to your local flyer and buy him off his best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like you said, that is just propaganda driven. That, Bob. That's just
that's what I'm
social
saying.
media. Actual pigeon
Listen,
people don't think that.
you look on these sales, right, and you look at them, and look how they built the pigeon. The picture of the pigeon's perfect.
Yeah.
And it's all brightly coloured, and all the pedigrees are in different colours and all that. And it's all marketing. Everything's marketing. It's the same. It's all the same, all marketing and stuff like that. And everybody's fell for it.
Yeah,
I fell for it.
hey, I have. We've all done it, haven't we?
We've all done it.
All done it. What I'm saying is, 9 times out of 10 pigeon people, if you ask them that question, they will say, go to a fancier around you and buy off their best.
Yeah. And not only that, people can't wait to put a picture of it holding it like, oh, can't wait to breed off this year.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I can't wait to put these two together. Like, this is a double grandchild of Summit, and then this is a double grandchild of the other. And you're like, but when was the last time any of them raced?
Yeah, I know where they're coming from, because I think on the Devil's Advocate, I think you need well-bred pigeons. We're not saying you don't, are we?
No,
there's lines,
of course.
Like racehorses. I think following lines, and you see stuff, don't you, by following lines? But I do agree, they've got to be they've got to be raced, haven't they?
Yeah. I mean, so what are the benefits of repairing the race birds prior to starting training? Victoria.
You've done that, haven't you, Jamie? You can answer that. You've done it in the past, haven't you?
But up till 3 years ago, I used to repair mine, and once all the ends were laid up, I used to train them for 2 weeks sitting.
Is that so you could train them together, Jamie? So you can get them all gone together?
Yeah, they're easy.
So that's a positive then, isn't it? That's the point.
Yeah, because we found that when you were letting them go separate, the cocks and hens, and the person were at home, we'd let the hens go, and we'd be like, right, they've gone, we'll give it 5 minutes, let them get in front, give them time to go in, and blah, blah, blah. You let cocks go, next thing, hens would come out of nowhere, because they knew what the crack were. So then, so then we used to let them go down on eggs, train them sitting for 2 weeks, and then split them after the first race, and they never got trained again. Yeah. And then, as 2 or 3 years ago, when I trained one lot and didn't train the other, and they all come together, I've never trained since.
Yeah. So what you're saying is, though, that she was asking for the positives of it. It's you're taking a. So it's one lot of diesel, isn't it, Jamie? It's one lot. They're getting trained together.
One lot of diesel. They're not waiting for each other, and they're racing onto them eggs, and it gets them going well.
Yeah. So just to go into telling you about the young ones I've got this year. All the young ones I've bought for the last 2 years are being raced.
Yeah.
I've not bought anything for stock. I've got nothing. I've got no stock. I haven't got any stock pigeons. So last year I was really happy with the ones I bought last year, and then I've raced them, and then this year they're going to race as my yearlings, and then this year I've got another team of young birds to race. But I've not raced. I've not bought any stock pigeons. So hopefully I'm going to race off. I'm going to use me. Even the ones that don't make it in the race team. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put them in the stock loft and use them for floaters. I'm not going to breed. I'm not going to breed off them. So them that I've paid, and I've paid good money for pigeons. So what I'm going to do is, instead of they're not good at racing, so they're going to become feeders. Right. So I'm not going to race. I'm not going to breed off let my racers breed. I'm just going to take eggs off them and let the feeders bring them up next year.
Yeah.
Right. So and also, Bob, because you're starting your own little hub, aren't you? You're having them all tested in there. Therefore, they're still in your lofts. Therefore, you're not bringing any pigeons in.
I'm not bringing any pigeons in. I'm not bringing any in. Right. So what I've done in my mind, what I've done is I've bought pigeons off who I think are the best. I've got pigeons off who I rate as good fanciers. Right, that's what I've got. And
hey, Bobby, Another
What?
few weeks, I'll have some right nice young ones at nest with flashy pedigree. You want some new stock pigeons?
No, mate, I'm okay, thank you. So what I've done is I've got pigeons off the people that I respect, like, you know what I mean. So I think that out of all them I've got, they should all fit together, okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
I had 44 young birds last year, and then out of the 44 young ones that I had last year, I've still got 43.
Yeah,
Right.
you can't got that, can you?
I've still got
No.
43. You know what I mean?
They were trained up a race, Bob, weren't they?
Yeah, that's right. They had 30 tosses.
Yeah.
You know, they had 30 tosses, and albeit only a couple of races, but they come really well in the two races that I had, so I was made up with them. And then I had to travel again last year, and that was the last time I've done it. I don't have to travel anymore. So this year, I'm going to end up with this year probably 16, probably about 40 young'uns again.
Yeah, there you go. Good number.
And that's it. So then with what I've got from last year and what I've got from this year, next year I'll be able to breed, you know, only breed off my best ones, but use instead of getting rid of the pigeons that I don't need, I'm going to use them as floaters. So
Good
so
idea.
so this is my idea. I know all them pigeons. I know, you know, because obviously I've got the vet involved now. So I know if they've been ill or what's been wrong with them or anything, if anything's been wrong with them. So next year I'll have my own solid family, won't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my plan. That's the way I want to do it. But I'm going to be honest with you. Listen, I'd come back from Saudi with a few quid, and I've been looking on them pigeon sales, and I'll tell you what, I don't know how I've done it. How have I kept my hand in my pocket? I do not know.
No.
I don't know. I promise you how I've kept my hand in my pocket. Do you know what I mean? But what I didn't buy was pigeons. That I've bought selective young birds to raise. And the young ones that I bought are all off races, I think. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you know, they're not too far from the tree. They're from people that actually race and race well, you know what I mean, lads? So that's my plan. There's my plan. I've just bare my soul to the world and told everybody my plan. Do you know what I mean? So but lads,
There we go.
we're out of time. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
it.
saying we're out of time. But listen, thanks for everybody who's joined us again tonight. And like we say, without your input, you'll make this show a little bit harder for us. You know what I mean? So, thanks for
Yeah.
everybody getting involved, and thanks to Tom and thanks for Jamie, and also thanks to Barkley in the background there, who we never see him do it. So, who's making making sure the show works and all the messages come up. And if I've missed any of your messages, I'm sorry, and we'll get them next week. Don't worry. All right then, boys. Thanks for it.